Alright YouTube, today, I know I've been waiting to do this, and I'm sure some of you have been waiting for this. I'm going to put on some high performance brake pads, front and rear. So I've got the Power Stop Evolution Sport. They're carbon fiber and ceramic. I'll tell you one thing that was sort of interesting. They require a very specific braking procedure. Supposedly during that time it will be depositing something along the rotor here to help with the stop. So this part's going to be rather interesting to do because I'm going to have to do it on a public road. So I'm going to have to go from 40 to 10 5 times very aggressively, and then 35 to 5 a little less aggressively, and then drive slowly and let them cool for 5 minutes. So I have an idea of a road that I can probably do this on safely, with, where there won't be cars coming up behind me wondering what the heck I'm doing. So for the police interceptor, the front is the 931, and the rear is the 932. We're going to tackle the rear today, and the caliper is held on with 10mm bolts. They're supposed to be torqued down to 17 foot-pounds on my vehicle. Each year model has a slightly different, I should say each range of year models has a slightly different spec for these. A lot of the older models require a lot more torque than the newer models. So you want to check and see what yours are supposed to be torqued down to. That's 17 on mine, which is an 08. And as you can see, it should be able to be broken loose with just a regular socket wrench. So there's the top. And there's the bottom. I have a feeling that piece was not supposed to come out with the bolt. Well, as I suspected on the driver's side, the bolt should just come out like that, top and bottom. Little trick I use, even though these appear to be the same, so it looks like they're interchangeable. Usually if something's off the top, I'll put it toward the front of the car, the bottom toward the rear of the car. That way I know which one is which. So there's a couple things that they don't tell you in the shop manuals about getting this off of there. So typical, right? They say, oh, just unbolt and just slide this off. Well, no, that's not true at all. So where you unbolted the 2 bolts, you need to pull on those rubber boots, make sure that the pins are free and clear. And then the last thing is this little spring down at the bottom has to be pushed up over there. So they don't tell you that. They just tell you, oh, this thing will just slide off. But it doesn't without doing both of those steps. And then it'll slide out like that. And again, you do not want to hang this from the brake line, so you need to put this somewhere where it's not going to fall. And I would recommend getting a bungee cord and securing it so that it doesn't fall while you're working on the vehicle. When you have these off, obviously these metal guides need to be replaced. Hopefully your brake kit included those as well as pads. For those of you who wonder, the parking brake is actually a separate drum brake system. I don't know why they did that instead of just having the disc grab, but if you want to check yours, you just slide the rotor out. And there's your 2 drums, and mine still looks like it has a little bit of life on it, so I'm just going to spray this with some brake clean and move on to doing the pads. You also want to check your rotors. Mine appear to still have some life to them, so I'm going to reuse the rotors. This is what I'm using on the back of all the pads. I did the front, and I'm going to do the rear. I didn't film spraying the fronts, but it works exactly the same. Basically, you just spray it on the back and then let it dry at least 10 minutes before putting the pads on. So we'll see how that works. I've usually just greased them in the past, but I wanted to try this product, see if it made any difference, better or worse. The metal pieces that come with the kit seem to be all interchangeable. I'm just going to pry off the old ones. After you snap the guides on, then you want to hit those with just a little bit of your copper anti-seize. Those are really difficult to snap on there. You'll know they're on right when they're basically flat surface facing the ground or flat surface facing away from the ground. If they have too much of an angle, they're probably not snapped on all the way. So another nice thing about this set is it came with the rubber boots. And these are the things that are so frustrating. It'd be nice if the manuals would say things like you should put the boot in first and then put the pin in, or put the boot over the pin and then slide the whole, these are the things you kind of learn the hard way as you're doing these jobs, which way works best. And so the shop manuals and stuff act like you would just automatically know which would be right, and of course it seems like every vehicle is a little bit different as far as how easy pieces go in and whether you should put one in first and then the other. So I'm going to just mess with this and figure out which way is best and then just tell you. Try it with the pin sticking out the bottom so it's partially fed through. Alright, so that was the trick. You see now it's in there properly and squish around. Then you need to compress the piston, and I think it's best to open up the bleeder valve to do that. So open up the bleeder valve. Now if you didn't get this all the way compressed, then obviously you can put a pad or something in here and use channel locks or some sort of compression tool, vise, to get this totally flush. So I wanted to show you, these are the lifetime warranty from a local car store pads, and these are more like what came on the police Interceptor. So you notice there's a little more coverage compared to the lifetime warranty one. Now how much difference that makes as far as stopping power, obviously I can't say. It's a lot less difference than probably what it looks like. But anyway, you can just, like I said, just see that there is a difference. And so these are ones that I had replaced before, so they're fairly new. But like I said, I want to go ahead and try out the carbon fiber ones, see if there's any difference. So go ahead and put these pads on. So as strong as I am, still need a tool to completely compress this. Because I'm not having to go very far, I'm not worried about this pressing too much fluid into the master cylinder. Then to reattach this, you've got to push these rubber boots out of the way like this as you're doing it, And of course they do have a tendency to get back in the way, so you may have to push them a couple times. And then you want to go top in first. And when it snaps in, you know it's in right. Then you just want to really grease these up really well before you put them in. The rears are supposed to be 18 foot-pounds for this car. Your year model may be different. If you have an older one than 2006, you want to check the spec on it because it may require a little bit more torque. Coat them really well with the brake grease. So first you just want to hand snug them. Then with your torque wrench set to the right spec, like I said, mine is 18 foot-pounds. Then there's two things you want to do after you've done this. One, I would go ahead and bleed the brakes just a little bit. If you've opened up the bleeder valve like I did, there's always a chance you got a little bit of air in there. Plus it doesn't hurt to get a little old fluid out. So, you know, bleed it, a couple pumps of the brake pedal probably. And then the other thing you need to do is start the car and press the brake pedal several times to get these set. First few times you press the pedal, you'll feel almost no resistance. If you press the pedal and it just keeps going to the floor and there's no resistance, and you've either got one of these bleeder valves opened up, or you've got air in the system, or you've got some other problem. Lastly, top off your master cylinder. So bleeding brakes is actually very simple. You open up your bleeder valve, put the tube on there, and you want it to go upward. The reason for that is air will float up and the liquid will stay down. So there's the two-person method and the one-person method. Me personally, I like the two-person method because you can sit here, open the valve, tell them to press the pedal. When they press it to the floor, you'll see the fluid come out, and you can close it and they let off the pedal. Then you open it, they press the pedal, then you close it, and they let off the pedal. And it goes very quickly that way. The other alternative is the one-person method. You open this up, you go in there, you press the pedal, and it just pumps fluid out, sucks fluid back in, pumps fluid back out, sucks it back in. It will get it done if you have to do the one-person method, but obviously I like the two-person because you're seeing the fluid come out, you're seeing the air come out, and so you can get it done a lot quicker that way, I think. But either way will work. And then you got to fill it up. You see there's the line and there's the max line. So we're about a ½ inch below, roughly, eyeballing it. And because I have brand new pads, I'm going to go ahead and fill it to the max line. And then as they wear out, the level should drop. Brake fluid is something that you can't really store very long. So now that this one's been opened, it's going to start going bad. So I'll keep it tightly capped, but I'm going to have to use it up or throw it away fairly soon. And the final step is going to be the weird part. It's the road part where, like I said, I got to go 40 to 10 rapidly 5 times, 35 to 5 slowly 5 times, and then drive around for about 5 minutes without using the brakes. So I kind of have an idea in my head of the route I want to take. Basically, it's going to end me up on the freeway for the final part so that hopefully traffic will be flowing and I won't have to stop.